When you first start out filmmaking, your first light is probably the sun. I've used a ton of different lights at this point in my career. 60 watts, 100 watts, 150 watts, but I've never really used powerful lights like the big, huge lights that they use on Hollywood sets. But I think I finally get it. So for the past few weeks, I've been using the Forza 302 and 502 line by Nanlite. If the 302 line of fixtures are a step up from what you're typically using on your sets or even like your YouTube talking head videos, then the 502 line is like 2 steps above that. The Forza 302 line features a Forza 302 and a Forza 300B2. One is a daylight fixture and the other one can change CCT values to match other lighting sources. Both are rated at 350 watts of power. They both are Bowen's mount fixtures, so you can use a ton of different accessories with these lights. They both can be powered via V-mount batteries. You can operate both of these lights via an app on your phone, which has been one of my favorite things about using these lights. The 300B2 can go from 2700 to 6500 Kelvin, and you can adjust the grain and magenta shift all the way up to plus or minus 80 to match other light sources and fixtures. And the Forza 502 line features the 502 and the 500B2. And the 500B2 has the exact same functionality as the 300B2 where you can adjust that green and magenta shift in it as well. The big difference between the 500 line and the 300 line though is that it's not quite twice as bright as the 300 line, but it has an additional 200 watts of power, which is pretty significant. Let's get into the reasons why you might want to purchase a more powerful light for your lighting kit. Reason number 1, you're sending light a far distance. A couple weeks ago, you guys may have seen the BTS of me shooting a Hoop Dreams video for my homie A1 Haven. In that video, we used the 300 Forza line to light everything in it that needed lighting. We created some really nice interior daylight looks, and we wanted to match the ambience inside the house to the ambience outside of the house. So what we ended up doing was we used the Forza 300B2, and we had that just outside of the window, outside of the house, pretty far away, actually. We put it up on a C-stand, we shined it through the window, and we used it to light Ace, who was inside of the house sitting in the chair. While we had the light outside, I was able to control everything on the light using the app, which I was talking about a little while ago. And that just made the process of using the lights outside or far away from the scene so much easier, man. We didn't have to go out and run and adjust things and come back in to see if it was right on the monitor. I can do everything from my phone and just look at the display monitor as everything's changing, which is awesome. We wanted it to look like the window was lighting him inside of the house, but I also wanted to get a wide scene for the video. So with me filming as wide as I was, we couldn't have the light inside of the house with a big softbox on it off by the window to create this similar look. And obviously the further away your subject is from the light, the less the intensity of the light is gonna be by the time it actually hits him. And this is a big reason why you might need more powerful lights in your kit. And I wanted it to be on a slider, which means we needed an ultra clean frame because it was on the floor, we couldn't see any light stands. And the crazy thing about it was, for this particular scene, the Forza 300B2 actually wasn't even bright enough. We ended up maxing that light all the way to 100, and the window was still clipping a little bit. So if I had had the 500 line at that time, I would have replaced that out for a 500B2. It wouldn't have been maxed out on power. We would have been able to use that additional wattage to fully compensate to expose him inside of the house and also keep the exposure in the window as well. The scene still turned out really dope. I actually liked the way it looked a lot. Another scene that we ended up shooting in this video was pretty similar. We had the 300B2 just outside of the window and we shined it through the blinds and we had Ace on the side of the bed. And this was creating some nice light rays through the window. And that was pretty much the whole lighting setup for this scene. We did have the 302 just shining off the ceiling to lift the overall ambience in the room a little bit, but this played a big part in this scene as well. So the fact that we had to have these lights a little bit further out and we couldn't just have them in the room with us, the extra wattage helped out a lot to create these scenes. Reason number 2 why you might need more powerful lights in your kit is you want to match the exposure of the outdoors. Like 95% of my music video career, this has been one of the hardest things to do, to be able to match the exposure of outside. If I'm filming a scene of an artist inside of a house and I want to cut down on the window being blown out in the background, I just didn't have powerful enough lights to do this for a large majority of me shooting music videos. This is impossible to do if your lights aren't powerful enough. The sun is the most powerful light there is. So if you want to match the exposure of being outside or be able to even shape lighting outside and match it with the sun, or even on a cloudy day, you're gonna need really powerful lights to do this. If you ever looked at behind the scenes on like Hollywood sets that aren't in like a studio doing green screen stuff, they got huge powerful lights, like HMIs shooting through 12 by 12 grids to match the power of the sun to fill in their subject. Or sometimes they're shooting on a cloudy day and they want it to look like the sun's coming in, or they want that nice kick off the side of somebody's face to look like the sun's hitting them. They have really powerful lights to do that and help shape the lighting and make it look more cinematic. On a sunny day, I can easily match the exposure of the window inside of a house using the 500 line by Forza. The 500B2 makes it really easy to do, and I like that one, again, because of the CCT adjustments and the green and magenta adjustments you can do, because the sun coming through a window is gonna be different at all times of day. I wanted to try the 500 line and create a really clean setup down in my garage with the garage door open where you could see the entire exposure of what's happening outside to see if I could match that exposure using those 500 lines of lights, give us a nice motivated look, and just something that looks really cool and not distracting because the entire background's blown out. What I ended up doing is facing myself off to the side, framing myself up on the thirds, and have the 502 just off to the side of the frame, shooting at me. This is giving me a nice motivated lighting look. If you look at it, it looks like the exposure or the light from the outside of the garage is lighting me. But if we turn it off, you can see I'm actually really dark. So this light is doing a ton. The third reason why you might need a powerful light in your kit is your diffusing or even bouncing light. If you ever look at the behind the scenes on like Hollywood sets or like Netflix shows, they use a couple different techniques with diffusion to make the light as soft as possible. One thing that you often see them doing is sending light through multiple layers of diffusion. This is how you get the light super soft. It's going through a lot of different layers. And if you think about it, these layers of diffusion are cutting a significant amount of power and intensity of the light by the time it hits the subject. So to compensate for that, you need a super powerful light to do this. Now, me myself, I haven't experimented much with using these lights through really big diffusion frames yet, but I have a lot of ideas and I can't wait to use these lights in the future to light really big setups for music videos in really large spaces and have the lights still be super soft. That in itself is super exciting. One of the big reasons why you might need a really powerful light in your kit, at least one of them. So these lights are great, man. For a lot of people, the 302 line is gonna be just enough of what they need. A lot of people aren't doing super big Hollywood stuff, but there are some people who wanna experiment with these. And for those, the 502 line by Forza Nanlite is a really good option as well. For me personally, I think it's like, if you're gonna be using a Bones mount fixture already, why not use the most powerful one? You can dial it down to 1% if you need to. You know, you don't have to use the additional power all the time, but the fact that you always have it on hand, the fact that you can always be able to compensate for a brighter exposure or send the light further or light a bigger space, or like, these are the things that like are good to just have in your bag, man. So if you're interested in these lights at all, it's gonna be links down in the description for you guys to check them out. I've been having a ton of fun using them, and I've used them on a few shoots so far. They're really dope lights, I like them, man. Do me a favor though, head down to the comment section and let me know what's your favorite light that you're using right now, because I would love to know. I love lighting. I think lighting is the essence of filmmaking that really makes things look different other than the lenses. Cameras, not so much, but enough rambling. If you enjoyed the video, make sure to drop it a like. But with that being said, I'm out, y'all. Peace.